What's going on, y'all? This is Hiram Talks, where we talk about life, mental health, and culture. I feel like everybody deserves a space to be honest, feel how they want to feel about things without being judged. I feel like these are conversations that we don't get enough of. Today, we're going to talk about shame, survival, and what happens when people try to freeze you in your lowest moment. We're going to keep it real, we're going to keep it honest, and hopefully it's something that resonates with you, and hopefully it's something that you can relate to. If you ever felt like one mistake defined you, this episode might help you see yourself and your growth in a whole new way. Make sure you watch the whole video and comment below and let me know what you think and what you want to talk about next. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So let's talk about how mistakes don't define us, but shame can make it feel like they do define us. So mistakes don't define us, but shame can make it feel like they do. So you're probably wondering, what exactly do I mean by that? So the brain isn't built to optimize us, it's built to protect us. So when we mess up or we get punished or we get judged, our nervous system starts to code those moments as threats. So exactly what does that look like? So say you freeze in a meeting, say you freeze up in a meeting. Say something happens and you over apologize in text messages. Or you have an awkward moment or something that happens and you replay that for hours and hours and hours in your head. So when that happens, it's not because you're weak. It's just your nervous system thinking it's trying to protect you or defend you. So why does that even matter in the first place? If we mistake self-protection for self-awareness, we'll get stuck there. You'll be hyper vigilant, exhausted, and then you'll start mistaking survival for growth and never actually start healing. So what's an example of that? So let's use a student or school example. So say you're a student and you bomb one exam. And say when you bomb that exam, the teacher singles you out about it. The teacher, dang, you done made a 39 on the exam. Like, dang. Then you get home and your parents scold you. Like, dang, you made a 39? Dang. Like, what's going on? You made a 57? Dang. You see what I'm saying? Like, say then your parents scold you. Now, every time that student opens a book, they kind of freeze up now after that experience. It's not laziness. It's not because they're disinterested anymore. It's just the nervous system trying to avoid that shame, that cycle of shame again. Shame isn't feedback. It's a shutdown. The brain can't tell the difference between emotional rejection and physical danger. So that's why we may be reluctant when something happens, freeze, maybe disappear. It's not because we're being dramatic or overly dramatic or doing too much, but we're wired to survive. See what I'm saying? So our brain, like everything in our brain and in our nervous system, is wired for survival. We're wired for survival. At one point we were out in the wild and things of that sort. So you see what I'm saying? So we still have those human instincts that come up in just different situations that may happen in our lives. So what if the version of you that you're trying to fix is just the one that adapted to survive? So just keep that stuff in mind. There's a lot of things in our life that our brain and our nervous system was just trying to protect us. So we're trying to fix a version of us that was just adapting to survive certain situations that we may have gone through. And it doesn't have to be anything just dramatic. Kind of like how I gave the example of the student in school bombing the test. That's something that we all go through. So it's a lot of different things that happen in life that just be aware of. Because it may just be a version of you that's just trying to protect themselves from repeating something that may have been uncomfortable in the past. All right. So with that in mind, let's go to the next topic. Let's get it. All right. So next, we're going to talk about how people try to freeze you in your failures and how you have the right to evolve past that. So people try to put you in an identity prison based off your past mistakes or your past failures. And you definitely have the right, the privilege, and the space, whether you realize it or not, to evolve past that. So let's talk about that. Let's get into that. So you're allowed to evolve past your worst moment in life, even if people don't allow you to, even if people don't let you. You don't need other people's permission to evolve as a person and move past those failures and move past those mistakes that you may have made in the past. So people will try to judge you by the version of you that maybe hurt them in the past, or maybe made a public mistake in the past, or may have just did something that maybe wasn't the best decision in the past. People will judge you off that version of you that did that. You know, we can all look back on something in our lives that we may have did when we were younger. Let's keep it just generic. Maybe you were a little bit too mean to your classmate in 3rd grade or something like that. And I know that's a silly example, but let's just use that. You know, that person from 3rd grade, if you meet them now, you 37, they may look at you like, man, you a bully, you know? Now, what if that person has a platform or a voice or in a position to where they can tell other people like, hey, John Doe is a bully. John Doe is a bully. With that, you don't have to accept that version of you if you know that you evolved. But let's keep going and keep talking. So what does that really look like? So they may remind you of that one time where you did something or you made that mistake. They may joke about it. They may not believe your change is real. They may believe that you're being performative about it. So with that, they keep you in a punishment loop. They keep you in an identity cage. You know, they keep you in, this is what you are. Say you smoked cigarettes 10 years ago with people that always smoke cigarettes. Now, today, you may not have smoked cigarettes since then in the last 10 years, but to them, you're still a smoker. You know what I'm saying? People try to keep you in that identity prison, in that identity cage. So let's do another example. Say someone just got out of prison. They clean. They just started a business. People are still going to say, some people are still going to say, well, that's still an ex-con. He's an ex-con. She's an ex-con. They're an ex-con. You see what I'm saying? Or you may have a friend that you know or somebody that you know that may have been unfaithful or cheated in their relationship years ago. You may be with somebody that may have did something like that in their relationship years ago. So say they move on to a different relationship, or the relationship that they cheated in or whatever that dissolves, and they move into another relationship. They may sabotage the relationships that they're in based off suspicion or based off that insecurity that they had from the past person that hurt them. So it's not really the past that ruins them. It's being locked into that past from other people that ruined them. So yeah, the past has happened, but the past doesn't have the right to hold you captive forever. The past doesn't have the keys to keep you locked in forever unless you did something criminal and you have to pay your debts to society. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you go get to just smack old ladies in the back of the head and now you in jail and now you like, yeah, that was in the past, man. I should get bail. Like, no, you see what I'm saying? But you get what I'm saying from a generic perspective, from a high level. Your past and your mistakes don't get to hold captive of your future and who you are now and in your evolution moving forward. And you have the ability and the power to free yourself, of course, with God also, but you have the power and you have the ability to free yourself of those chains. You don't have to get the validation from anybody, family, random people, friends, the internet, anything to move past your past mistakes and to evolve to a better person or to evolve into the new version of you. Because we're all flawed, we're all human, and we all deserve the right to move forward and be a better version of ourselves. So keep this in mind. If people can't accept your evolution, protect your growth anyway. That's what boundaries are for. You feeling me on that? Y'all following along with me? Let's keep going. We got another topic coming up. Let's get into it. All right, y'all. So on these episodes, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, like the topics we just talked about. And then we're going to end the episode with something more of like just something we just want to talk about. Maybe something in the culture, maybe something that's current, maybe something that may be a current event at the time of this recording, but now it's done changed, or maybe something old. But it's just going to be something just to talk about. And y'all let me know in the comments what y'all want me to talk about as far as like culture or just whatever the case may be, whatever may be going on. And I'll take it into consideration and I'll do it. And I'll do it possibly. So, yeah, let's get into it. So what we're going to talk about this time, and it's a topic everybody talking about, and it's going to be Diddy.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Now, when I'm talking about Diddy, I'm not about to talk about the specifics of the case that he has going on. There's a lot of sensitive information. There's a lot of things that are alleged. There's a lot of things that I don't know, and I quite frankly don't really care because it has nothing to do with me. But we're going to talk about it in a different way. So let's go ahead and get into that. So when nobody checks your behavior, God eventually will, or the world eventually will. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's go ahead and get right into it. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I had to just get a drink of water. All right. So when you move through life without limits, eventually life will set the limit for you. Now, in order to live through life without limits, typically you have to have a lot of resources. Diddy is a billionaire. I don't know if he still is or not, but when you have a lot of power and a lot of money, especially in America or in a country where capitalism is a high priority, you can do whatever you want at the end of the day. Yeah, you can't break the law per se, kinda. That's a whole nother topic, but you get what I'm saying. You get to basically do whatever you want. You have money and you have power. But you can have fame, money, and power, but have no accountability. You see what I'm saying? And we all got to have accountability for our actions. We all have to. So you have a lot of people that enable you, protect you, cover for you for the longest time until they can't anymore. And you notice this with these big stars. Your reputation isn't based on your wins. It's based on what you got away with until the day you don't get away with it anymore. P. Diddy did a lot for as far as being a black mogul. I wouldn't say like a leader like Martin Luther King or nothing like that, but if you know, maybe if you're younger, you don't know, P. Diddy's a big name. Like Diddy, Sean Combs, all that. Like he was a mogul, and there's a lot of things that he achieved in his career, but that is outshined by the things that he was getting away with for so long that have been brought to the light now. You see what I'm saying? So it only takes one time to taint your Wikipedia based off your actions. Now, of course, there's always be rumors about different celebrities and things of that sort, but it only takes one time to mess up your Wikipedia. You feel me? So Diddy spent a lot of time at the top. And here's the thing about this. This is what I'm going to say before we get out of here. You have to be mindful of your vices. Now, what do I mean by that? Your vices. We all have our vices. We all have things that we like to do. We all human. We all have desires, sexual desires, whatever the case may be. But you have to understand how those things could spiral out of control. So let's say drinking. Say you like to get your drink on. That's your vice. Say you like to get your drink on. You like to get your wine on, whatever the case may be. But when it gets to the point where you in court for drinking, y'all might have heard my dog over there. He over there groaning. But when you in court for your drinking, because you done hurt somebody or you done got a DUI or something like that, you know that it's gone a little bit too far. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you got to think. Diddy is sitting in court right now because of his horniness. Let's just keep it a bean. Let's keep it a stack. It's at the point where your sexual desires and your lust got out of control to the point where you in trouble. You getting human trafficking. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but you getting human 5 o'clock traffic charges because you got allegedly you just doing a lot. You doing a lot, and then you the power you may have caused permanent damage on certain people's lives. It's just a lot of stuff like that, and I'm just speaking on it. I'm not here to talk down on anybody, but I'm just saying, like, you gotta really think, like, man, I'm really sitting in court. Let's look at R. Kelly. I'm really sitting in court right now because I was too freaky. Everybody got a little freak or whatever, but you too freaky. You see what I'm saying? So now you in court. So you got to think about stuff like that. Say you like, you got a spending habit, and now you just in debt up to your eyeball. You in $1 million of debt because that was your vice, retail therapy. But now you done did that. Maybe gambling. You got people after you now because you done did, you see what I'm saying? Just your habits, just your vices. And I'm not knocking people that want to drink. I'm not knocking people who like to gamble. I'm not knocking people that like to be freaky consensually with adults. But I'm saying, when you let that get too wild and out of hand, and you start putting that above God, you serving two gods, you making that your idol, it's gonna come crumbling down, man. So we got to take that. We got to learn that as a lesson. We got to learn the lesson of what's going on with that. Like, because we can point the finger and we may all never become billionaires and be in the same position he's in, of course. Just because statistically, most people aren't going to be have the power dynamics he had and have the money he had. But you can still spiral if you don't have your checks and balances as far as what you got going on. You know, you like to go out and party and stuff like that, or you like to do whatever it may be. So we got to keep that in mind. So yeah, that's the culture part of it. And I just wanted to say that I don't want to get too deep into the specifics of the case and do a whole bunch of judging and this and that and blah, 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 blah. But we can learn from it because we all are human and we all have flaws, and we all could easily be in a situation where it's like, dang, I may have took that too far. Maybe I got a little bit too angry. Maybe I got a little bit too happy with the money. Maybe I drank a little bit too much. Maybe I smoked a little bit too frequently. Maybe you see what I'm saying? Maybe, you know. So it is what it is, y'all. All right. So just remember that we got to keep God first, and we got to understand that we all will be held accountable for the things we do eventually, some way, shape, form, or fashion. And it's okay to make certain mistakes on certain levels. And I'm not talking about Diddy no more. I'm talking about just in general. Yeah, we may make mistakes on certain levels, but we just got to be aware of what we doing out here. You feeling me on that? All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. So remember, you have the right to evolve. You're not who you are in the past. And the right people will see you for who you are and who you are evolving to. And make sure that you stay focused, and make sure you have your boundaries, and make sure you definitely keep God first in your life. And you don't have to be a prisoner on who you used to be. You do have to be accountable, but we always have room to grow. We always have room to be better people. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't be a better person, bro. Like, don't even get into that. Don't even let me tell you. Now, you acting wild, I may have my space from you. Now I'm just messing with you. Maybe. But, you know, do you, man. Do you evolve. You feel me? Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I got more content coming for sure. Make sure y'all go on my page. I got a lot of different types of content on my page, so make sure y'all go check it out. I definitely have more episodes coming of this. This is Hiron Talks. I talk about life, mental health, and culture, and I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.